Hello everyone, my name is Kieran. Welcome back to another Manchester United live stream. Tonight we're going to be talking about some of the comments that Jose Mourinho made in his recent press conference, plus anything that you guys want to talk about. As always, please do let me know in the live chat throughout this stream. I'll be reading out all of your comments, trying to address all of your points, and also you guys can get your point of view in as well. Leave them in the live chat. And before we start, I just want to say as well, I would really recommend you go and check out the On and Off the Pitch podcast I did today, or on the day this was recorded, with Rodney and Jessica on Rodney's channel. The link is in the description down below to it. I'd really recommend you go and check out his channel and give him a subscription, because he does some really great content on his channel. So go and check out the podcast I did in the description down below. It was a great podcast and some very interesting points were made. So go and check that out, and also go check out all the other channels that are linked in the description down below. Also, feel free to leave a like on the stream as well if you are enjoying it, and subscribe if you are new. Welcome Yash, and welcome Jessica, one of the guests on the podcast I was on as well. Link in the description. But today I thought I'd do a little bit of a stream giving my point of view on Jose Mourinho's comments, and I wanna it might be a bit different to what you've heard, and I think I've kind of got a perspective which, as I said, you might not have heard, and there's some things I want to address about not the comments themselves, but the way the comments have been construed in the media. So we're going to get into that. Jessica says, thanks for the love for the podcast. It was a great conversation. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought there was a lot of good points there, and a great debate as well. So, as I said, if you want to check that out, link in the description down below. And of course, welcome Yash as well. You guys can leave your thoughts on the comments that Jose Mourinho made. As you can tell by the title, the first thing we're going to talk about is the David De Gea contract situation. Now, at Manchester United, David De Gea has been probably one of our best players, if not our most consistent performer for the last 5 years. I think he won Player of the Year twice or 3 times in a row for the last 3 or 4 seasons. He's been fantastic for us. And news is surfacing. I don't know how they got the news, but news is surfacing that potentially David De Gea does not want the contract negotiations are stalling with Manchester United for David De Gea to sign a new deal. Now, obviously, the journalist in the preview for the Everton game asked Jose Mourinho to make a comment about this, and Jose Mourinho said, or the media portrayed him as saying that, he was not confident that David De Gea was going to sign a new contract, but they very cleverly cut what he said short. Because actually, I was watching the footage of the whole interview on Sky Sports, and Jose Mourinho's follow-up to that was he's not confident, but he's not confident, if you know what I mean. So he didn't just say he's not confident. That was the isolated bit that they took and they printed on the newspapers and things like that. But actually, if you roll it on a bit, he actually basically said he didn't really know. So obviously, when he said he wasn't confident, they took that bit and said, right, we're going to make a story about that. We're going to use that. We're going to basically say that the manager is basically saying De Gea is going to go to Juventus, wherever apparently Juventus are interested. And that's that. But I'm not sure if that's really true. Because he definitely did say, he definitely, afterwards he said, I'm not confident, but, you don't know. So the media saying that Jose Mourinho is not confident, I don't think is particularly fully representative of what he actually meant. I'm not sure whether it's some sort of translation thing, I don't know. But I just feel that Jose Mourinho has been misrepresented. And it's not the first time, let's be honest. Who is surprised? I'm not very surprised with this, to be honest. How many times has Jose Mourinho been, misrepresented in the media? You probably wouldn't be able to count it on, I don't know, on 10 fingers alone. Yash is looking at the way we're playing. De Gea deserves to be playing somewhere else. Can't blame the guy. Well, that was just what I was going to say. Even if David De Gea wanted to leave Manchester United, who can actually blame him? Who can actually blame him for wanting to leave? I mean, for the last 5 years, he's been our most consistent performer. Every single game, he puts in a really decent performance, and he never lets us down. and every game, every time we're conceding, we're playing badly in a game, I always think of David De Gea. I always think, how must you be feeling? People are saying you're the best goalkeeper in the world. You're making crucial saves for your team week in, week out, and your team are not backing you up. If I was De Gea, I'd be furious with my teammates. I'm putting in the work every single week. I'm putting in good performances. I'm saving your asses on a weekly basis, and I'm getting nothing. And this season, it doesn't look like we're going to win a major trophy once again. And, someone of David De Gea's calibre, he deserves to be playing in a team winning trophies. And unfortunately, I don't see us winning any major trophies anytime soon. I'm not going to say whether that's due to the manager or the style of play, whatever. You guys can make your mind up on that. But I just don't see it. I don't see David De Gea. I think David De Gea will probably leave Manchester United at the end of the season. I feel like this is going to be De Gea's last season at Manchester United. Because I don't see where he can go from here. Because I think potentially Mourinho's going to be sacked. I don't think he's going to last the season. I think Mourinho's going to be sacked. Someone new's going to be brought in. And I don't think we are going to win a major trophy for a few seasons at least. So, David De Gea, obviously as a goalkeeper, you can go in your career for a bit longer. But he doesn't have the whole, he doesn't have, unlimited length of time. I think he'll want to win things in his career. He's not won I think he's won one Premier League title with Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson. No Champions League. He might have won the Europa League. I'm not too sure if he did. But he hasn't won enough, really, that he deserves. He definitely, if you look at David De Gea's quality, he deserves, as I said, to be in a team who are winning league titles and really challenging for the Champions League. And he's got nowhere near that with the team that he's been with. Yes, just didn't he win the Golden Glove last year? Just because of him, we finished second. Exactly. You take that game against Arsenal. If we have, say Sergio Romero in goal, or let's take David Ospina or any other goalkeeper, I reckon we draw that game. And even though our players on the outfield did a really good performance, Arsenal peppered the goal like nothing we've ever seen. And De Gea stood up to the challenge. He, put in the performance that he needed to do. And in that Arsenal game, it actually shows a lot of things that we lack right now. The team, everyone in the team pulling together and playing for each other and playing to the best of their abilities for each other. Because in a team, you can't just have, in a team, you can't just have a few players, pulling their weight. Everyone has to pull together, even if not everyone on the pitch is having an amazing game. Everyone has to pull together and put in a decent performance. Because one weak link can lead to a mistake or lead to, one mistake can also lead to the team being a bit lacking in confidence as well. I don't know. I do feel for David De Gea. I really do feel for him. And I think a lot of rival fans are right. David De Gea is probably one of the only reasons why if you look at even this season, without David De Gea, we'd be in the bottom half of the table. If you look at the saves he made against Newcastle, the saves he made against, Watford, even last season, Crystal Palace, you look at Man City, these sort of games, these important games, you need goalkeepers to step up, and he did that. Jessica says, I hate the misrepresentation of Jose, so ridiculous. Well, yeah, I agree. I think, obviously, the papers are going to try and make money, and they're going to take the comment that they want. You have to remember, journalists are looking for the comment, the words they want, not the words, not the truth. They're looking for the truth they want. So I think there's some journalists out there who do strive for the truth and do write well, but there's others who look for statements, little snippets which they can take and go, and use in their articles, and then when anyone questions them, they go, well, he said it, and it's like, yeah, he said it. But context matters. Context really matters. And it's so frustrating as a United fan. But to be honest with you, I've kind of got used to it. And I think a lot of United fans have got used to it. We've seen, on a daily basis, even when United are not playing, back pages of the English press are littered with Jose Mourinho's face. And you think, how can that be when we're not even playing a game? but I guarantee you tomorrow's back pages will be something about David De Gea leaving for Juventus. It'll be about Lukaku or something like that. And it's frustrating. It is frustrating, but I guess it just shows how big of a club we are in terms of, money-making strategy. You've got news companies like Sky Sports. Pretty much every day without fail, Sky Sports will have a news story about Manchester United, or they'll be discussing Manchester United on their debate show, or they'll be uploading a YouTube clip about something that a pundit has said about Manchester United. Manchester United is always in the forefront of these guys' thinking. But you know what? This is not a rant about how the media completely take the piss, for want of a different phrase, out of Manchester United. I think there's a video on my channel which explains that a bit, my feelings on that a bit better. Yash says, we do have Pereira, who is bright talent, but De Gea is from another planet. Yeah, obviously, Pereira's gone out on loan. I can't remember where he's gone to, but he's gone out on loan, so hopefully he can get some, good, well-needed experience. But also, we've got Sergio Romero, looks like he's coming back from form, and he did a really, really good job for us in the Europa League when we won it. He was a very solid keeper, and I think he's a decent backup keeper, but no one comes near to David De Gea. I mean, in terms of who we've got, David De Gea is, I wouldn't even say a level above. I would say 2 or 3 levels above. It is absolutely insane. And it's consistency. We talk about players who are really, really good footballers, but consistency is the key. Consistency is definitely the key. So, that's what I feel on that. Welcome Matthew Jones, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining, really appreciate it. As you said there, Matthew Jones, their channel has reached 500 subscribers, so fantastic. Well done to United Fan Focus, the first channel out of everyone here to reach 500 subscribers, so well done to you guys, and you totally deserve it. You totally deserve it. Some brilliant Manchester United content, and if you guys want to check them out, their link will be in the description down below. But yeah, thank you very much. Obviously, I really appreciate it. And any other share, if you guys want to share this channel around, please do feel free to do so. Welcome Liam, welcome to stream Liam. Thanks for joining, really appreciate it. Also guys, do you notice I've got the green screen back and running? Last stream I did, I noticed a few people were asking where was the green screen. Well, I kind of sorted my lighting out so it works. Obviously, there is kind of these sort of black bits here, which is really annoying, but I can't really do anything about it with my current lighting situation. I'm hoping to get that fixed, so it'll be a bit more professional for you guys. But any suggestions for what I should have behind me, please do let me know. Jessica says it would be absolutely brutal if David leaves. Well, I totally agree. I mean, if we actually, I don't know how many points David De Gea has saved us cumulatively, in his Manchester United career. It'd probably be a huge number. It really would be a huge number, and it would be. I think we'd be in trouble. I think some of the saves he makes are ridiculous saves, and saves which and saves at important times in games as well. And Sergio Romero, he's a brilliant keeper, in his own right, but I don't think he's at the level of David De Gea. And I feel like if we had Romero between the sticks, I don't think he'd be able to save us as many points. Yash says he's in Vitória FC Portugal. Okay, fair enough. Well, hopefully he gets game time and hopefully he gets experience. Matthew Jones says I'd be angry if De Gea left. He's been our best player for the last 4 or 5 years. He deserves much more. Well, yeah, exactly. I do agree. I feel like he definitely deserves more from his teammates as well. The performances we're putting in. If I was a player for Manchester United and I saw David De Gea saving us like that on a weekly basis, I'd get everyone together and go, guys, we need to sort this out for him. He's doing everything he can to help us, and we're just throwing it away. Against Newcastle, I feel bad for him because the goals he's conceded, largely he cannot do anything about them. And then people are saying, look at Oblak, he's conceded less, he's kept more clean sheets than goals conceded. He's the best keeper in the world. It's like, yeah, well, he's got a decent defence in front of him. We've got Rice Krispies and Cocoa Pops at defence. Well. Matthew Jones also says Lukaku needs to have a rest, but the problem is we don't have a proper backup either. But yeah, I'm going to get onto Lukaku in just a second. Welcome, Deeves. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. He says, hi, I'm Red Devil Rant TV. Originally, I made a new channel dedicated to match attacks. Decent, mate. Well, if you want to go check that out, guys, please do feel free to do so. But yeah, thanks for coming back to the channel, mate. Really appreciate it, and I will fully support you with your new channel. Matthew Jones says, hello, D. Fancy checking out United Fan Focus? I would definitely recommend you check it out, mate. Jessica says, so many players with contracts running down, becoming like Arsenal. Hashtag Woodward out well. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. I think Woodward's great at signing, signing on sponsors. But it's a shame that Chivas can't play at left back for us, or Adidas can't play up front. It's a shame that can't happen, because if that could happen, Ed I'm gonna call him Ed, would be responsible for a brilliant team, but he's not, because all he can do is sign signings. And yeah, he's doing well at his job. His job is to make money for the club, but his managerial pointing is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yash says, if we all plan to win, if we at all plan to win the Champions League in the next 5 years, then De Gea should be retained and playing in that team. Exactly. I agree. I think if we're going to get anywhere near a major trophy, we need to keep David De Gea. If not, at least bring in a replacement for him if he does go. Welcome, Current World. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. And welcome, Rasmus. Also, welcome to the stream, guys. Thanks for joining. Please do hit that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe if you are new, guys. I really appreciate it. Also, whilst you guys are here, if you haven't already, check out the podcast I did with Rodney. His channel, and the podcast link is in the top line of the description down below. Really would recommend you guys check that out. It takes an hour out of your day to give it a listen, and you guys can leave your thoughts on that in the comment section of his video down below. But I'd really recommend you check out his channel as well and give him a subscription. D says, Matthew, could you check out me when you want? Yeah, I'd recommend you do that. Matthew says, are you taking calls tonight? Well, I can do. I mean, obviously, I'm going to get on to Lukaku, and then once I've talked about Lukaku, then I'll let rip. You guys can let rip and give your thoughts live on the call. My Skype is in the description down below, as always. So please do add me, and don't be afraid to call in. But now we're going to talk about Romelu Lukaku and how he is going to be able to get back to top form. Romelu Lukaku has not scored in his last 8 appearances. For someone who he brought in worth, I think it was 75 million. I'm not good. Again, the narrative that he's 90 million pounds, stupid, absolutely stupid. 75 million pounds with his actual price tag. And I think, Romelu Lukaku, he's had a really bad time of it at the moment. He's really not getting in form. And, it is worrying from a United fan point of view. And I think a lot of United fans, I think I saw Matthew Jones there saying he needs to be rested. And I totally agree. I think Lukaku needs a bit of time out of the firing line. He needs to, kind of take his mind off all the negativity. And I think maybe his confidence is low. And Jose Mourinho's press conference comments, he did say that we should get behind Romelu Lukaku as fans because of his low confidence. And I think that is true. I think obviously players will go through patches where they do have low confidence. But I do think in the same way, it is beneficial for some players to kind of just take the load off, just give him a bit of a break, and, maybe play Martial as striker, play Martial in the position that he truly was supposed to be. So I feel like maybe that might be the right thing. It might be the right thing to give Lukaku a rest and just let Martial play up front. And then maybe Pereira could play right, or Sanchez. Who knows? Maybe Sanchez should play up front, because I'm not sure what Sanchez is really giving us on the left-hand side. But we'll talk about Sanchez in a bit. But yeah, Lukaku, obviously Mourinho says the fans should be backing Romelu Lukaku. And look, I think the fans are definitely backing Romelu Lukaku. The fans, always support the players. They always get behind the players. When you go and watch a game, everyone's always going to get behind the players. But I think that, some of the fans are almost worried for Lukaku, and maybe are worried. And I think think that he needs to take a rest, and I totally agree. I think he just needed to take a rest, and we'll try something new, because I don't think Lukaku's having the impact that we wanted to. I do also think that I do feel sorry for him, and that the service to him hasn't been great in recent games. But when you are a striker for a top club, you need to take the opportunities that you get, because if you don't, like we've seen against Juventus and against other teams, Brighton as well, when he missed that chance, Chelsea, we get punished for it. Welcome, Rodney. Welcome to the stream, mate. Thanks for joining. It's a very good timing, because I was just about to say as well, if you guys haven't already, check out the On and Off the Pitch podcast, which me and Jessica, who was also in the stream, we're having a debate in. Go check out the podcast. It's in the top line of the description. And if you haven't already, go and check out his channel as well. Some really good content, Man United centered and also football centered as well. So I'd really appreciate you guys if you go and check out his content. His link is in the top line of the description, and go listen to that podcast as well, and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below of that video. And go and subscribe to all the other channels that are linked in the description down below. Some great content out there. So in the description down below, go and check it out. Yash says, who do you rate after De Gea in the Premier League? I think Ederson. I think Ederson's been pretty good for Man City. I think, his distribution's really good, and I think he does have a good shot-stopping ability. He does take a lot of risks, which for a goalkeeper, sometimes the risk that he takes, for me, aren't justified. But I wonder what a Man City fan would have to say about that, because I don't really watch Man City week in, week out. And in terms of kind of lower goalkeepers, I would say Nick Pope. I think Nick Pope has done really well. Has the highest amount of saves in the Premier League as well. So I would say Nick Pope lower, but higher I would have to say Ederson. Welcome, Angelino Red. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. Please do leave a like if you haven't already, mate. He says, Jose said it best as he could in his press conference. You can't drop Lukaku now in the string of important games, because it shows a loss of confidence. Well, I mean, that is true. I think if Jose Mourinho does drop players, and we've seen it in the past, and I think it's very interesting to see, because the reaction to Jose Mourinho dropping Martial was ridiculous. I think there was so much of a kind of mental sphere. Well, I don't know. That's not a phrase, is it? It was. I mean, I think there was a lot of Man United fans. Martial FC is the little term they use. But they went absolutely mental when Martial was dropped. But if Lukaku was to be dropped by Jose Mourinho, I don't think there would be too much of a reaction from the fans. And it's interesting to see there are two players which play for the same club that you support, but there's some people who will react differently to other. I don't know. I think Lukaku maybe dropping him would potentially damage his confidence even more. But I think just if you do it in the right way, and you say, you know what, son, it's going to be for your own benefit. You're going to, we know you're a top striker. You just need to, clear your head, and we'll give you a few games out, and don't worry about it. We'll still pay you. You'll still be able to watch the games for free. We won't cancel your MUTV subscription, and that'll be fine. But I don't think, I think Lukaku himself knows that he's going through a bit of a difficult patch, and maybe he knows himself that a bit of a break would help him. As I said, guys, please do leave a like if you haven't already, and subscribe if you are new. Yash says Lukaku is not an all-round striker like RVP was. He needs service into his left leg, and then he'll score. Well, I mean, it does worry me that he can't. He usually does play with his left foot. He's not very good on his right foot as a striker. And we were talking about this in the podcast, cheeky plug, if you want to go check it out in the description. We were talking about this. And, I think really, players of this sort of standard, being paid at the level they are, playing at the level they are, they should be competent on both feet. And, we have players like Lukaku and like, Matic, who aren't competent on both feet, are very left-footed minded or right-footed minded. And I don't see, I don't know, I just don't understand it really. But yeah, I think I do agree. I think Van Persie, yes, obviously in the 2013 season, I think there was so much, the service into Van Persie was much better than it is now, and we're playing much better football. But I thought, Van Persie, though, he was a very clinical finisher. He was very, very clinical in front of goal. Obviously, we saw it in the last game against Aston Villa, when we won the title. He 3 goals in the 3 shots he had. And the goal that he scored from Wayne Rooney's pass, I mean, I reckon he could try that 100 times and you probably not get it in. But it was a very, very clinical finish. And when it mattered, he was able to produce a finish. Sorry, guys. Keep getting your comments in, please do. And anything you want me to discuss, leave your thoughts in the live chat. It's all about you guys, as always. Jessica says, I agree, Lukaku needs a break. Sanchez up front would be a great move, or Martial. Yeah, I think, for me, I kind of don't understand, why, we don't see Sanchez up front. Because I'm not sure about you guys, but I think Sanchez playing on the wide right and letting him cut in, I'm not sure if that's his best position. I feel that, I was watching him in pre-season. Yes, obviously, we were playing kind of the pub equivalent of, Barcelona, or whatever. But, still, I thought Sanchez was much more effective through the middle. And maybe it'll be a good kind of tester to see Sanchez through the middle. Maybe Martial on the left, Rashford on the right. Maybe that might be better. Rodney here says, Sir Alex Ferguson was never afraid to place a player on the bench. The super sub Ollie spent the bulk of his career coming off the bench. Well, obviously from the videotapes I've watched, because I'm still a spring chicken, I do see that. I do know, I mean, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the babyface assassin, of course, came off the bench multiple times from what I've seen and scored crucial goals. And I think Lukaku, I mean, to have a striker with the calibre of Romelu Lukaku on the bench, I mean, I don't see the problem with that. I think that's a really good asset to have. And I think, I think Mourinho in some ways does have to take charge. I know, he's worried about, I think it's good that Mourinho recognised that, confidence does have a part to play. And he is, being a bit more caring. But I just think that sometimes you need to know when a player needs a break and you need to know when to change it. And that is a sign of a good manager as well. Rashford, welcome to the stream, by the way, Rashford. Thanks for joining. He says, I won't be surprised when David De Gea leaves. And also, I won't blame him because he wants to win trophies. Exactly. As we said, towards the start of the show, I wouldn't blame De Gea if he left, because I think he is a superb goalkeeper who deserves to be winning trophies and in a team who can back up his performances with good performances in the outfield. Does he get there at Manchester United? I don't think he does. I will be taking your call, Matthew. Don't you worry about that. Angelino says, I wouldn't trust Alexis up front. He's been off since he's joined. Whether it be on the left or right, I wouldn't trust him in the centre with the form he's been in. I mean, true, he has been a bit flaky since he's joined, but it's something new, isn't it? I feel like, as of right now, just any change would be positive. I'm not sure what you guys think about that. Obviously, you guys will have different opinion. And Rodney's 15 seconds. Yeah, again, reference to the podcast. Check it out in the description. But yeah, I tell you what, Nemanja Matic is like a reversing truck when he's on the ball. Honestly, if he's got the ball on his right foot, he's turning around, trying to find a pass. And 15 seconds is a reference to how slow he is on the ball. And I've seen it so many times. And when I'm watching it with my brothers, I'm watching the TV and I'm going, when we're passing it around, when a team is pressing us, I'm going, don't give it to Matic, don't give it to Matic, don't give it to Matic. Because I know that if a team is pressing Nemanja Matic, he can't deal with it. He can't deal with people pressing him. And, I'm so, every time he touches the ball, I'm like, Jesus, please, just pass it off straight away. But he infuriates me. Says Lukaku needed a support striker like Chicharito to the burden off his shoulder. Where did Chicharito go? Those were the days, man. Those were the days, Yash. Take me back to those days, please. Oh, what a striker he was. I tell you what, if you want a striker to finish a chance at a crucial time, Javier Hernandez, legend, absolute legend. And I think he was a bit of an unsung hero, really. I don't think many really appreciated what he could do. He was so clinical. Maybe Lukaku needs to be watching a few videos of Chicharito. Jessica says, like Rodney, I remember those days well. There were many good players on the bench, but it gave us rotation and also the option to bring someone on to change up a game. Well, you always need that, and the teams that win the league always have that. You know, the teams that are successful, you look at Man City, they always had options on the bench to bring it on. You know, they had Bernardo Silva sitting on the bench the majority of last season. A player of the quality of Bernardo Silva on the bench. I mean, you know, that's why squad depth is so important. But there's no point in having squad depth if you don't use it. You know, Juventus, classic example. We had Pereira, we had Chong, we had Fred on the bench. And really, it was crying out for some dynamism and some pace in that midfield to get people going. And we had Fred, 50 million on the bench, and we're not using him. But as I said, if you want to see my thoughts on the Juventus game more, go check it out in the review I did. Rashford says Lukaku needs to know he is a centre forward, not a he's an SF, not an SB. He can't hold the ball for 3 seconds. We need a centre. Does that mean centre? I do. My brain is scrambled with your initialisms there. I do apologise, Rashford, but I kind of get what you mean, but I don't in a way. I do apologise, mate. Clarify what those mean. I'll come back to you. I do apologise. Ronnie says Andy Cole spent a good period at the beginning of his career on the bench at United, and look what he turned out to be. Look what the goal scorer he turned out to be. Him and Dwight York again. Watching the videos, it felt like he was just... Oh, no, I can't say that. It didn't feel like it was just yesterday because I never watched it. But, look, Dwight York and Andy Cole, brilliant partnership. And I think it is... I think there is a perception that if you're on the bench, it's for a bad reason. Like, you've disrespected the manager doesn't like you. And I think that's not always the case. If you put a player on the bench, you might be putting them on the bench to help them. You know, maybe Mourinho can put him on the bench and he can let Lukaku watch the play, take in how strikers play and things like that. So, I don't know. I feel like there's just a perception with, oh, you're benched. I mean, I've had it when I've played Sunday League. You know, I've seen it where, you know, I've had players in my team who when they've got benched be like, oh, I've been benched. What have I done wrong? But if I get benched, I don't think, what have I done wrong? I think, okay, I'm probably not suited to the situation. So, you know, or maybe I'm not playing so well. What do I need to do? It's not about what the manager needs to do. It's what I need to do to improve myself. Welcome, Ricky. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate it, Ricky. Please do leave a like if you haven't already. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if at the start of next season we're without Pogba, Martial and De Gea. And if we have a new manager, I'm sure Lukaku won't suit his style of play unless we get Pulis. Tony Pulis. I tell you what, he would sort out that back line, wouldn't he? But yeah. Some people say we've got the Portuguese Pulis at the moment. But yeah, no, I think you've thrown in the names of Paul Pogba and Anthony Martial. I feel like Pogba's going to stay. I'm not sure about Martial. I feel like at the moment, I think Martial would stay. If I had to put money on it, I feel like Martial will stay. But things can change. Football's a funny old game. Things can change. But at the moment, I feel like Martial's going to stay. And I think Pogba... I mean, if Pogba was to leave, I feel like... I don't think we'd be able to get more money than we paid for Paul Pogba. To be honest, I think we'd make a loss on him. So I think Ed Woodward will want to keep Paul Pogba because A, he brings money in, and B, we won't be able to. I don't think we'd be able to sell him on for a profit. Yasha's journalist asked about Zlatan coming back in Jan, but Jose doesn't fancy that. I've seen the rumours, mate. I have seen the rumours. It is ridiculous. It is a bit ridiculous, but there you go. But you know, I think, you know, some United fans think he'd be a really clinical finisher. And yeah, he was clinical at parts. But then if you see the game against Stoke, he was not clinical at all. And, you know, I think some people have selective memories when it comes to these sort of players. I'm not saying Ibrahimovic didn't do wonders for the club because he came in at the age he was and did very, very well. I feel like he played above his means. But in the end of the day, I don't think he was some sort of superstar striker that everyone makes out to be. I mean centre forward, not centre back. Okay. Oh, fair enough. Well, yeah, no, I agree with your point then. I agree with your point. Jessica says, you have more sense than those players on the pitch. They have take no responsibility for what they do. Well, exactly. I mean, as I say, in a team, you have to all take responsibility. Again, you know, Rodney raised this point on the podcast, you know, talking about his own Sunday League adventures. Link in the top line of the description if you want to, you know, listen to the podcast. But he talked about, you know, how if in his team, once you cross that white line, I think he used the words, once you cross that white line, you're looking around and you don't want to let down your fellow players. You're looking around and everyone wants to play for each other. And I feel like if I don't think we have that mentality in Manchester United, and if we did, I feel like we'd be achieving some much more positive results. By the way, Matthew, you can call in now. I think I've given my spiel. Now I think we're gonna have a call from Matthew Jones, one half of the famous duo of United Fan Focus. So go and check their channel out in the description down below if you haven't already. Really, really good Man United content, so go and check them out. But Matthew, feel free to call in now if you do want to. Ricky says, I would disagree with that, to be fair. He scored 28 goals by February. He would have probably scored 40 that season if he wasn't injured. But I agree he's finished now. He would be a bad signing. Yeah, no. Well, obviously, I think, Ibrahimovic... I'm not saying that he wasn't a good striker for us. I thought Ibrahimovic was very, very good for us. I thought he did a very, very good job. But, whether he'd be good now, I'm not too sure. But you could be right. He could have stayed at Manchester United that season if he didn't get the horrendous injury. And he could have got 40 goals for us. That could have happened. But, it's hindsight is a wonderful thing, as they say. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. But you guys can have your say on that as well if you think Lukaku would have actually... Ibrahimovic would have got 40 goals for us that season. He definitely was influential. I don't think we would have... I really don't think we would have... I don't think we would have won the Capital One Cup without him. But there you go. Hold on, I need to put my... Sorry, guys. Because we've got the very famous, all the way from across the pond in California, we've got Matthew Jones, one half of United Fan Focus. So glad I could get you on, mate. Thanks for calling in. And yeah, as I said, go and check out his channel in the link in the description down below. United Fan Focus, some really, really good stuff on there. Please leave a like if you haven't already as well. But Matthew, obviously Jose Mourinho made his pre-match press conference for the Everton game. One of the comments he made, by the way, welcome Crazy Pizza Gaming 1 to stream, thanks for joining. One of the comments he made was talking about David De Gea and the fact that the media portrayed it anyway, in my opinion, that he said he wasn't confident that David De Gea was going to sign a new contract. But for me, I feel like that was misinterpreted. Do you feel like Jose Mourinho was misinterpreted, or do you think he really isn't confident that David De Gea is going to sign a new contract? And also, how confident are you that David De Gea is going to be at the club next season?
Well, I definitely think there is something in it. What Jose said. I do think I personally think that for De Gea's sake, and I think he'll want to go to. He'll probably want to go to a Spanish club or something like that because, he's been a fantastic servant for us over, I think, 7 or 8 years. But I think it is time for him to move on because, he's a world-class keeper. And it looks like, especially for the next couple of years, we're probably not going to win any trophies and stuff. And it is sad to see because he's, the only reason we've really won any silverware in the last sort of couple of years has been because of De Gea. He saved us in a lot of games. And I would really want him to stay at United, but I can't see it. I do think there is truth in what Jose said in the press conference. I do, because obviously De Gea's contract runs out soon. So it will definitely be quite interesting to see, in the next sort of couple of weeks, if anything else, escalates on that.
Yeah, it will be. And I think, it's going to be a story that rumbles on, of course, because, David De Gea is a big player at Man United and the media are going to cover it a lot. But where do you think we'd be without David De Gea? I mean, it sounds like a silly question, but how do you think we'd be able to adapt to life after David De Gea? What do you think we'd need to do?
Oh, it'd be really tough because the situation we're at the moment. I think a goalkeeper like De Gea, it's really hard to replace. I don't think there's a keeper out there that you could possibly say Alisson or Black. They might be on the same level or just below, but I think the amount of goals we've conceded this season, it's been really ridiculous. I think it's 15, 20 goals in the Premier League, something like that. It's been crazy. So I think if De Gea left, I think we'd have to bring in a really strong centre partnership, just to stop those goals from going in. Because, De Gea's made some superb saves this season. If it wasn't for him, we'd probably be losing a lot more games than we have done. So, yeah, I just think at the moment, I think it's probably a 50-50 chance of him leaving. I think I still think he's got his heart at United. I still think he wants to, put in 100%, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, it is frightening. It definitely is frightening, as Yash and, Yash also says there, it is frightening. It's definitely frightening to imagine David De Gea not being in this side. And he has saved us multiple points. And I feel like he deserves better as... I think, the players in front of him need to be doing a better job, in my opinion. Ricky here says, the funny thing is De Gea can't join Real Madrid anymore. Would be interesting to see where he would go. Well, Juventus, apparently, according to Sky Sports or, Jim White, who obviously we're still looking for the whereabouts of Mehdi Benatia when he linked him to Manchester United and said he was on the plane. So we're still waiting for that plane to land, but that's not going to happen. But yeah, no, I think apparently Juventus are linked, but I think there's going to be an absolute queue at the front door of David De Gea, David De Gea's house, to sign him because he is a world-class keeper. Welcome, Football Fan Fever. Welcome to stream. Thanks for joining. Go and check out that channel. I am involved in some of the videos that they make. And also some of the other channels in the description down below are also involved. Some really, really good content on there. So go and check that out. Please do leave a like if you haven't already. He says Lukaku should go to the Chinese Super League. Well, I mean, I reckon he'd bang in goals for fun there, but I just think he needs a bit of a break. And obviously I'm going to ask you, Matthew, about that in just a second as well. Ricky says, it's also frightening to imagine this team under someone like Zidane. Well, would he be able to change the team? Would he realistically be able to come in and revolutionise the team? Personally, I don't think he would. I feel like, it's going to take a long time before he really puts his imprint on the team. So Ricky also says, saying that I don't think he'd be right for us, but his style of football would be perfect. Well, the style of football that we play is important to an extent, but I think whether he'll be able to get us the results, for me, I do believe that football is a results business, and we need to get the results. And I think Zidane would be a risky manager to bring in. But again, the managerial debate, it seems like there's three candidates: Zidane, Pochettino, and I thought there was three. Well, I don't know. Someone else, they'll throw some people will throw in a different candidate there. And yeah, so guys, please do leave your thoughts. Yash, Eddie Howe, exactly. There's another candidate. But Matthew, I was going to come back to you on the Lukaku situation. Obviously, Mourinho made the comments in his press conference today that Lukaku, the fans should get behind Lukaku, and when he does score, the weight will be lifted off his shoulders. We have the similar idea to the similar situation before he scored against Newcastle as well last season. Why do you think Lukaku gets in these ruts of poor form and poor confidence? And what do you think we need to do this time to kind of help him out almost?
I just personally think he needs a rest, I think. But, like I said in the comment section earlier on, I think we haven't really got a replacement. You look on the bench, we've got Rashford, but he's not been playing as a striker. He's been playing on the wings. And you've got Martial as well, who's been hot and cold this season. So we haven't really got a replacement. It would be nice to see, someone off the bench that could sort of help him out because, I think Lukaku's played every single game this season. He even played against Derby in that cup competition. So, and also, he did well in the World Cup, obviously, and played a lot of games there. So I just think he needs a break. His hold at play is not great at the moment. He's not making those runs that he usually makes. And he just looks lost out there. I do think it's down to a lack of support. We're changing the system quite a lot. Obviously, Lingard's not in. We're sometimes playing Mata just behind. I think we need to stick to a regular team, especially up front. I would stick with Mata because I think Mata's been fantastic the games he's played, and he seems to create a lot of chances for Lukaku. So I would probably put Mata in there, and that possibly could help out Lukaku. Also, I think Martial, keeping him in the team is very important because I think the last few games he has been good. Even though he didn't have a great game against Juventus, he's one of the players who was trying to create something, trying to make something happen. So, yeah, I think Lukaku's form at the moment is obviously very concerning. He's only scored 4 goals in I think 9 in the Premier League, so it's not great. He started the season so well, but I just think he's a player who builds off confidence. And, once he scores, he seems to get on a run, and then when he doesn't score, it just seems to he seems to go on a drought for quite a while. But I'll possibly in January maybe bringing in another striker or someone. I know we've got a lot of attacking options, but we haven't got an ideal replacement for Lukaku. So it's definitely quite concerning.
It is, and I think I agree. I think he does need a rest, but he definitely feeds off link-up play. I think you're right. Maybe potentially Juan Mata in there, could help him out in a bit more of an attacking role. But I think, without that sort of link-up play, I think he is good at the hold-up and link-up play. But he's not a running behind striker. He's not a kind of quick movement running behind striker. So maybe, I think you do need players around him, a core of players around him with quality to, do that interplay, and also good service helps as well. Rodney here says, just sub to United Fan Focus, now have 503 subscribers. So there you go. And if you guys want to join Rodney in subscribing to United Fan Focus, link in the description down below as always. Go and check them out. Ricky says, I'd like to see Sanchez up front. Same, mate. Same. I think Sanchez could potentially be the key. I think he's got a lot of quality, and maybe, we're looking for the key to unlock Alexis Sanchez, and you would have hoped that giving him 500 grand a week would be the key, but unfortunately it isn't. And maybe playing him up front will be his best position. Apparently, Foot Van Fever says Sanchez is off to PSG. I have heard rumours that he's looking for a move away. Whether that's true or not, I think it's, well, for lack of a better phrase, bollocks. Rashford says, sending Lukaku to loan couldn't be ridiculous. I really need Icardi, Cavani or Mandzukic. Only that can help us score. Yeah, well, obviously, Matthew there was potentially suggesting a move in January. You've mentioned the names of Icardi, Cavani and Mandzukic. I'll actually get back to Matthew on that in just a second. Ricky says he's following the path of Di Maria. Yeah, I mean, Di Maria as well. He came with a lot of promise, but, with Sanchez, I think. But unfortunately, he's not really, he has individual games where he produces individual moments of brilliance, but I think he does a consistency. For me, the key word, the trigger word, my trigger word is consistency. That is my trigger word, honestly. Yash says, role of left back, right back is huge in Lukaku's goals, but with young Valencia, he's never got the service, especially with Valencia. I totally agree. Valencia is one of those players who frustrates me as he runs down the wing and he stops. And his momentum fades away, and it's really frustrating to see. At least Young tries to attempt to get the ball into the box. Guys, as Matthew Jones says there, please do leave a like. That'd be absolutely fantastic. And guys, if you are watching as well, check out the podcast we did on the On and Off the Pitch podcast on Rodney's channel. Link in the description down below, and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already as well. Ricky says a trade deal for Sanchez or for Meunier would be good. 6'3" right back and plays well for Belgium. Plays for Lukaku's strength as well. Well, I did watch the PSG Napoli game and I thought Meunier was decent. I thought he's a really good fullback. Maybe I think he does have a good delivery on him, and he's a good attacking fullback as well. So potentially Meunier could be the right way to go to replace Valencia. I think there are definitely worse replacements. Also, João Cancelo from Juventus, when he played against us, I really rated his performance. But Matthew, I'm going to come back to you. Obviously, you mentioned potentially in January we should be looking for a replacement for Romelu Lukaku. As the Owl, I'm going to say who?
I'm not really sure. I mean, there's obviously a lot of players out there. I think a player that like Giroud, someone that can hold up a ball and someone that can impact, coming off the bench, because we haven't got a lot of players on the bench. But just going back to the Lukaku point, I think you can put a lot of blame to the players around him, players like Mata, Lingard, players like that. But I think a £90 million player should be able to help himself out a little bit. I think, like you said a few minutes ago, Kieran, I think he is missing a lot of chances. You look back to the game the other week, he had 2 golden opportunities and he missed them. And yeah, he does lack a bit of service, and I think with more service, he probably would get more goals. But yeah, I mean, just going back to your question, I'm not really sure, really. But I do think we need to bring in some sort of player that can either play with Lukaku or just maybe play some of the games, because he's looking really leggy, and it's going to be a long season. Obviously, hopefully we're going to go quite far in the Champions League and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, potentially, as you mentioned before, I think potentially,